One Liquidity isn't just talking innovation. We are walking the walk with impressive figures that showcase impact on Africa's financial landscape. Here are some key numbers that speak volumes. $5 billion plus in transaction, $10 million plus in monthly credits and loans, $500 million plus in B2B payments. These numbers translate to real progress. Businesses have access to the resources they need. Trade flourishes and Africa's economic engine gains momentum. One Liquidity impressive numbers are just the beginning. By choosing One Liquidity, you are not just partnering with a financial service provider, you are joining a movement driving positive change across Africa. Sign up for a demo account today. One Liquidity isn't just talking innovation. We are walking the walk with impressive figures that showcase impact on Africa's financial landscape. Here are some key numbers that speak volumes. $5 billion plus in transaction, $10 million plus in monthly credits and loans, $500 million plus in B2B payments. These numbers translate to real progress. Businesses have access to the resources they need. Trade flourishes and Africa's economic engine gains momentum. One Liquidity impressive numbers are just the beginning. By choosing One Liquidity, you are not just partnering with a financial service provider, you are joining a movement driving positive change across Africa. Sign up for a demo account today. One Liquidity isn't just talking innovation. We are walking the walk with impressive figures that showcase impact on Africa's financial landscape. Here are some key numbers that speak volumes. $5 billion plus in transaction, $10 million plus in monthly credits and loans, $500 million plus in B2B payments. These numbers translate to real progress. Businesses have access to the resources they need. Trade flourishes and Africa's economic engine gains momentum. One Liquidity impressive numbers are just the beginning. By choosing One Liquidity, you are not just partnering with a financial service provider, you are joining a movement driving positive change across Africa. Sign up for a demo account today. One Liquidity isn't just talking innovation. We are walking the walk with impressive figures that showcase
I started my
impact on
first tech
Africa's
company in 2014, so that would be about 8 years. I've always been a builder, and I've been a part of a lot of companies, even the ones that have not been in a formal official capacity. I help a lot of businesses, and I'm also invested in a lot of businesses. So for me, really, I've just been focused on bringing value to people, and giving that value back. So that's what essentially led me to One Liquidity. But my journey really started in 2014. Back then, I think I was in university, and we were trying to build a product that helped people move inventory faster. By inventory, I mean like a lot of people were coming into universities and a lot of people were leaving, and in the process of going through university, you were racking up a lot of inventory from books, beds, and all these things you need only on campus. Scaling that up a little bit further to 2018, I joined Yellow Card. Back then, it was just an international product. It was mainly in the US, and they were trying to build this gift card project for crypto, and I saw it and it interested me a lot because I felt like there was more that could be done with a platform like this. Chris reached out to me and they were interested in coming to Africa, so we spoke, they came into Africa, and we literally collaborated to build the business. I was the head of business, chief business officer for Yellow Card for about 4 or 5 years, almost 5 years. So it's been an interesting journey. One Liquidity for me is my way of giving back as well. And like I said, it's a sum total of all my experiences for my short experience in like tech for like 8 years, So what I try to do with One Liquidity is look for a problem that cuts across all industries or a lot of industries, and a problem that has a simple and a seamless solution that can solve across the board, And the two biggest things I noticed when I was building technology companies is technology as a service, getting technology you're a technology company, you're building technology, but you build technology on top of technology. You understand? A lot of technology companies are just reorganizing what is already being built to give it a different flavor, like I always say. So it's either it's crypto, or it's fintech, or it's payments, or it's remittances, or it's even e-commerce. They're kind of the same thing if you look at it fundamentally. You understand? So getting the right technology suits to power your technology product is usually a very big problem. You understand? And it's a big problem because of the costs and the time. Then the next thing I also notice is the issue of liquidity to manage and to scale. It's a very big problem, especially if you're in payments or you're in crypto. Then getting the right form of liquidity at a good price and when you need it is very essential to taking your business from 0 to 100. And liquidity is in different forms. It could be form of payment exchange, it could be credit facility, it could be margin. So at the end of the day, I guess this is my way of helping businesses grow. And I believe in the continent so much, and I really want to create a platform that helps people innovate faster, better, and bring more value adding and life-changing products to market. I think we are just getting started. I still feel like there's going to be a lot of challenges to come, but the regular challenges are obviously getting the right people, getting the right businesses to use, talking to them, understanding what they are building, because we also have some bespoke services that we have to build out to help some niche industries. So for us really is ensuring that our infrastructure is always, will I say, ready to serve you, tailored fit to serve you, and at the same time make it reliable and ensure that it scales infinitely. I think the thing I enjoy most about tech is the freedom. I worked in an oil company, and I've seen the lifestyle there. And for tech, I feel like tech is the best place for anybody, because it gives you that freedom to build out. It gives you the freedom to not just build things that come to market, but it also gives you freedom to really build on yourself. You understand? You tend to meet a lot of people, you build a lot of relationships, and it's a place that enables you, set out to also build your own ideas. You understand? When you have done it with a small team, with 1 or 2 teams, you can also set out to do it for yourself. And that's the good thing about tech. It enables. It's a self-development journey. You understand? Anybody that is in tech is always thinking about a problem to solve, and that is the good way to think about it, especially in the world we have today. We need more problem solvers. For us, really, what we try to build is a technology and liquidity infrastructure for businesses. We want you to build better. You understand? So I can call it a one-stop shop. I can call it a platform or infrastructure for businesses to grow. I can call it a marketplace as well.
Hi guys, welcome to One Liquidity's live webinar. We're very excited to have you join us today. Uh, I'd like you to drop a comment. So drop a comment, go to the comment section, just leave us, tell us what country it is or where it is you're joined live from or where it is you're listening from. We'd like to say hi to you. So just jump in the comment section and say hi. Come on. I like to give you a shout out. Tell me where you're watching from. So today's live webinar is a very interesting topic, right? So we'll be talking about navigating opportunities in Africa, right? So thriving in the African business landscape. So Africa is a very interesting place to do business. Right now, it seems like the rest of the world is very aware of the expansion that's coming to Africa. So everybody's taking position, everybody's positioning themselves. They're they're positioning themselves to take, to be able to benefit from the market as soon as the surge begins, right? There are few that there's a bunch of crypto companies, fintech companies, and all medtech, edtech, whatever it is you think of, products that are doing well in Africa, right? And then there are more opportunities coming. There's going to be more expansion, and we look forward to all the opportunity. And that's what this conversation is about. So we'll be having the conversation around the opportunities and how to thrive in Africa. I have a very important guest with me today. His name is Powell Skura. So Powell works at One Liquidity. Welcome, Powell. We're very excited to have you here. We should
Hello,
give a
everyone.
confetti.
Hi, Michael.
Hey, shout out, hey. All right, we're very excited to have
Thanks for
Powell
that.
here. So Powell is our global head of business and development, right? So Powell is very experienced when it comes to business development, charting the course for businesses, giving businesses direction when it comes to expansion growth, right? And taking that next leap to be able to thrive in new markets across the globe, right? Africa, Europe, and Middle East, especially. Paul is your all-round guy. Paul, we're very excited to have you join us live today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Michael.
Let's
Thanks
see.
for
So
the
we have a
warm
few
introduction.
people. Yeah, beautiful. So we have a few people in the comment section. Hi, Success Maduka. Yeah, it's great to have you join us. Ajiri Omafope, great to have you join us. So Lajiri is listening from Rwanda. Success is listening from Qatar. It's beautiful. It's great to have you guys join us today. All right, so we're going to hand off to Powell because we want to be able to make sure that we round off this session as soon as possible. So Powell, over to you. So tell us, how do we thrive in Africa?
Yes. Hello again, Michael. Hello, everyone. Good evening, afternoon, maybe good morning for some of you. Depends wherever you are. Like Michael mentioned, I'm the global head of business development here at One Liquidity. And it's kind of very important for me to mention why am I talking about Africa, why I am actually working in Africa and with companies that actually build business over there in the continent. So my quick story is that back in 2017, 2018, I used to run a company. Maybe some of you are familiar with, maybe some of you heard of, called ProTrade Group, and our main target was African continent. And interesting fact why we actually targeted Africa instead of going the same route as everyone else, so Europe, Asia, or North America, was because it wasn't my first encounter with African business. I used to import certain commodities from actually Nigeria over to Europe, over to the UK. Back in 2014-15, and that actually taught me that Africa is a land of opportunities. Is actually the continent which is going to grow over time, and basically it is 20% of the global population, right? So there is a lot of room for improvement, a lot of room to actually develop healthy and thriving business. So when I got myself into digital asset trading, that was my natural choice. I contacted some of my previous partners and previous clients, and we started developing business in Africa. Long story short, actually, the founder of One Liquidity was one of the clients back then. That's how we know each other. And since I actually made an exit from my own company, October 23, I joined One Liquidity as global head of business development, and that's how I got here. That's why I'm talking to you tonight. So that's a means of introduction. Now, in terms of African business landscape, it's important to mention that African continent is experiencing economic growth, like rapid economic growth, and due to the young population, basically. We have to remember that the population in Africa on median scale is about 19 years old. So that gives us a large room for growing opportunities, for finding business ideas, and for innovation. Honestly speaking, I haven't seen such an innovation anywhere else. I've been working with many countries, many nationalities, and I haven't seen that sort of drive, that sort of innovative spirit as I've seen among African startups. So that even pushed me further to exploring and to finding synergies in the African continent. So that's definitely the advantages and the forecasts. Actually, there are forecasts stating that there is going to be continued economic growth in Africa in the coming years. And that's due to, first, young society, second, expanding infrastructure, the innovations that are coming into place, and the spirit of the population itself. So that also comes with certain challenges. Obviously, we have to face certain cultural diversity, right? So we have to understand, in order to build business and to thrive in Africa, we have the culture of African nations. We have to understand that business is done slightly differently than it is done in the UK, than it is done in the United States or Europe as a whole. Basically, it's more interhuman. There is more human interaction. There is more meetings face to face. There is different ways of building trust. So basically, we have to understand that in Africa, you have to have your boots on the ground, so to speak, in order to make the right connections, in order to network a lot, which is, actually the topic I'm going to touch on later. And businesses must understand local customs and preferences. It's basically a different take as to how we are approaching business and how we are actually working together and how we get clients to onboard with us and to actually work with us. And I've seen that firsthand at One Liquidity as a global head of business development. I've seen it before as the owner of my own firm. It takes a bit more understanding and a bit more sort of challenges to overcome in order to build a successful business in Africa. And that trust, that relationships are paramount. Basically, you cannot move anywhere without the right relationships. Now, in terms of the growth and economic expansion, there is something that many of our clients, our counterparties, partners, friends actually identified early on is digital transformation. So as I mentioned, I haven't seen such an innovation anywhere else as I've seen in Africa, because the African people, African nations, the innovators, startuppers, they actually embrace the digital revolution, so to speak. So basically, in Africa, there are things that we haven't heard of in the Western economies. For example, mobile banking. It's not merely a mobile app for banking. It's actual banking right in your phone. You can spend the money from your phone directly. and that's how you actually make the market move. This is something that we haven't heard of in Western economies. This is something that I first time saw in Africa, and I was fascinated. Also, something that I've noticed in African economies is that banking is incredibly fast compared to, for example, Europe. There are often fast settlements, instant settlements. Obviously, they come with certain limitations as to foreign currency. There are certain controls as to foreign currency movement. But if we're talking about domestic currency, it's usually lightning fast, as opposed to what it is in Europe, where we have single European payment area, which takes 1 day to actually come between the accounts as a domestic payment. This is actually quite interesting. Basically, there are also e-commerce platforms that have emerged in Africa. There's a lot of innovation around digital assets and in general blockchain usage, and we as One Liquidity are also leveraging that. Let me touch on this a bit more. So what we do as One Liquidity, we've built technology and liquidity infrastructure for the businesses to actually help them grow and help them perform day-to-day tasks, operations, financial transactions with less hassle than by going on their own. So basically, we support those businesses. We support African economies. We want to see them thrive, all within one dashboard, all within one solution that allows to make payments, make trades, manage the treasury, and even take loans. So I invite any of you to reach out to us, learn more. I'll be happy to discuss that in more detail. But now let's just move on to the other parts of this webinar. Now, entrepreneurship ecosystem in Africa. I actually went to Zambia in November this year. That was my first trip to Africa, which is very interesting because I've done business with African nations for a long time. However, I never had a chance to travel. And when I went to Lusaka in November, I actually had my eyes wide open. What I encountered there is how many startups, how many firms, how many entrepreneurs is gathering in one single place, and how open they are to discuss their business, to discuss the partnership, to explore synergies. And I believe this is, again, something that is very unique for African continent, because people get together, is the sense of community, is the sense of movement, because very often African nations cannot actually rely on their governments, right, for innovation, for pushing the technology forward. So I believe the community builds a network, and they collaborate together in order to push the country forward. That's very patriotic. That's very impressive and inspirational. So with that being said, there's a lot of entrepreneurs, as mentioned earlier, a lot of young people. They want to achieve something more. They want to build more. They want to thrive, not only to survive. So it is very visible, and you can actually experience it firsthand while doing business in Africa. There's many ways to interact with other businesses. There's many ways to execute your financial transactions. There's many ways to get liquidity and technology. We are one of those ways, obviously. And basically, we can also see the investment climate. There is a lot of foreign direct investment, especially from countries like China, from the regions like Middle East. There's a lot of interest in Africa, and there is a growing appetite for innovation because of all I mentioned before. Basically, countries like Rwanda, Ethiopia, and Ghana, they are witnessing like significant inflows of capital in various sectors, like including manufacturing, infrastructure, technology, and digital expansion in general. Now, obviously, there is a lot of obstacles faced by those businesses. So like I mentioned one before, it's that governments often do not support businesses. They do not sort of support the innovation, but and there's a lot of red tape, there a lot of bureaucracy in order to get your business started, get it off the ground. There's often certain requirements that are beyond the reach, but due to the community spirit and the networking effect, I believe a lot of entrepreneurs are succeeding in setting up their business and actually starting it off the ground. It also applies to large companies. It's not only that startups are facing the same issues. Large companies are facing exactly the same problems, often in a different way, but it's still the same challenge for any business. So there is no differentiation from that point. Now, a lot of businesses from overseas are coming over to Africa, and they invest in local partnerships, the infrastructure, the inclusion, leveraging the technology, and streamlining the operations, mitigating risks. But I believe it should be done from within, not from outside, right? So this is one of the powers of African economies, that it will always find a way to prevail. It will always find a way to innovate. And I think we are about to witness that economic growth and that golden era in Africa, not only in the largest countries, but also in smaller countries that are quickly catching up with South Africa and Nigeria, right? So for the success stories, for example, there has been a lot of innovation in various countries. I cannot just point out one. I've actually looked at the map of startups yesterday, and there was hundreds of startups in every African country. I could pull the list, but it's going to take a long time to actually read them all out. I'll just name a few. For example, M-Pesa, which revolutionized the way the people make payments and people make their daily purchases, with circumventing the banks. They are using mobile money, right? Then, for example, from the other perspective, we have Nollywood in Nigeria. This is a very interesting example. So it is, I believe, by far the largest movie production scene in the world. Maybe on par with Bollywood as well. I'm not sure. I don't have those numbers, but I believe the number of movies coming from Nollywood, and the type of the movies, the quality of the movies that is actually it's actually getting better and better over time, is astonishing. And that's one big success story, showing that it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter that you're not in Hollywood. You can create something in your home country and make it shine. So basically, that's what I would touch on. Then Ethiopian Airlines, for example, it started as a just state airline, but now it's one of the leading carriers in Africa and beyond. They take lessons from other airlines around the world. And yeah, with that being said, I think we'll just take a little breather, let it sink in. So let's cut into the video, or I will just give the mic back to Michael.
All right.
And let's take a little break.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pavel. So it's great to hear you talk about like African businesses and most of these examples. I think they're very, very insightful, especially when you talk about how resilient Africans are. You know, being that you don't have like a lot of support from the government, it's very interesting. We're going to talk more about this, and then I think if you have questions, guys, prepare your questions, write them out. You can even begin to type out your questions in the comment section, and as soon as we get back from this break, right, we'll go over your questions, and then we'll talk a little about some other points, and then we'll get back and answer some of your questions, because I have questions as well regarding like what it takes to do business in Africa. I'm sure you do as well. So guys, yeah, let's have it.
One Liquidity isn't just talking innovation, we are walking the walk with impressive figures that showcase impact on Africa's financial landscape. Here are some key numbers that speak volumes. $5 billion+ in transaction, $10 million+ in monthly credits and loans, $500 million+ in B2B payments. These numbers translate to real progress. Businesses have access to the resources they need. Trade flourishes and Africa's economic engine gains momentum. One Liquidity impressive numbers are just the beginning. By choosing One Liquidity, you are not just partnering with a financial service provider, you are joining a movement driving positive change across Africa. Sign up for a demo account today. One Liquidity.
All right, guys, you're welcome back from that break. So, yeah, it was like I said, if you're just joining, we have Powell Skura with us, our global head of business development, and we're talking about thriving in the African business landscape, right? The opportunities, talking about some of the businesses that have thrived in Africa, how they are doing so far, and how their stories are inspiring. And Powell has talked about some interesting topics about like some of the reasons why most of these businesses thrive in Africa. And so we're going to bring Powell back on stage, right, to continue and give us a few more insights about like thriving in Africa, and then we'll take questions. Over to you, Powell.
Thanks, Michael. Yeah, hi guys. After a short break, so I mentioned previously that I'm going to touch on the networking and building relationships, because as in any market, network and relationships are the most important part of building healthy and successful business. However, in Africa, it is paramount. Basically, I will just recall my story when I started ProTrade and when I wanted to break into Africa. I had some friends over there. Obviously, we worked before together in various other businesses. However, when I reached out to them and I pitched my idea about, hey guys, I'm starting a brokerage. Let's actually expand into African market. Let's gather some market share and let's actually thrive there. I didn't know where to start. I mean, basically, it's very difficult to break into the market, especially when you're not from there, you're from outside. So my journey was to find two people whom I worked with before, or two people who I can actually build a relationship with, get on the same page, get on the same way of understanding things and understanding how the business should work, be fair with them. That's very important. A lot of businesses are taking advantage, which is not a very good or a very fair approach. However, it's always important to keep everyone in the loop, keep everyone by the table, so to speak, and be fair with them. So if you agree to something, do not ever break your word, because the African continent, African nations have very simple network effect. If you break your word, if you're not a person who is trustworthy, this is going to travel. So it is important for you to build the relationships. Start with your friends and people you know, start with some gatherings, go to some expos, travel to Africa, which it was far overdue for me, but it really made a difference to me, and I really loved it there. This is the most important part. You go, you network, you find the right people, you find synergies, and people in Africa are very open to synergies and exploring possible partnerships, how we can build business together. It's basically, as long as we treat everyone equally and we treat everyone right and stick to our words, the business is going to thrive. This is actually the foundation of building a thriving and prosperous business in African economies. And it doesn't matter which African economy we are talking, it's always universal. So yeah, I think that's the most important point, and that's the I would say I would stop here to let it sink in, and yeah, I would like to take some questions. Maybe you guys have some comments, questions. I'll be happy to address them.
All right, that's fantastic. Yeah, thank you so much, Paul. It was great to hear from you. Talk about integrity and networking with great people across, just beyond your locality, I guess. So I have a few questions. So I'll start with my questions. Speaking from networking, I think most of the times, I think this is one thing Africans struggle with because Africa as a continent, there's a little bit of travel restrictions across Africa, and it can be very sad, right? Um, Usually across your region is where travel is easy. So I'm originally a Nigerian, right? So I can easily go to Ghana, right, visa free. I can get into Cameroon visa free. Can get into Benin Republic visa free, and a few other countries in the West African region. But if I have to go to Kenya, I have to go to Northern Africa, if I have to go to Southern Africa, I have to apply for visas. And I feel like this can be like a challenge for most entrepreneurs, right, who are trying to connect with people who they can do businesses with, or connect with people who can help them serve or source for um, materials from your local government. So, what advice do you have for people who struggle with networking, right? So, there are a few people who struggle with like how they can meet people because most times they're not able to travel to those countries. So, how? So, because
Mhm.
I you just mentioned you traveled to Africa for the first time earlier this year, right? Zambia, first
Yeah.
country. But before then, you have been doing businesses in Africa. So, what advice do you have for people, for Africans, people who are looking to travel to Africa? How can they connect or network with people?
Okay, so I would say one thing: do not be afraid to pick up the phone and start dialing. Really, I mean, basically, back when I started in 2013, 14, I was using Skype to actually call the numbers. There was the way to actually call the landline numbers and mobile numbers using Skype credits. So that's what I was using. Actually, it was kind of interesting experience because my number was the UK number at the time, and all of a sudden I'm calling someone in Nigeria or someone in Ghana, someone in Kenya, and it wasn't as popular as it is now that everyone is interconnected. It was actually slightly less popular. WhatsApp was just starting. It's interesting. I remember I was paying €1 a year for WhatsApp. But yeah, so my advice would be: do not be afraid to pick up the phone and dial the person. Often you may hear no, or you may hear someone hanging up or not answering the phone, but this is the worst that can happen, really. So basically, there is a saying, I think Michael Jordan said that the more shots he takes, the more lucky he is. So I would say if you want to build a business, the business building doesn't end at one or two phone calls. It takes hundreds of them. It takes knocking on a lot of doors. If you cannot travel to the country, try to build the database. It's very easy nowadays. You go to Google, you type in fintech companies in South Africa, for example, and try to find the right prospects. Try to find to identify who might be the director, owner, business development manager, the person that you're looking to speak to, and cross-check it with LinkedIn. Everyone has access to that resource as well, and try to find the way to talk to that person. Be relentless on emails, not too relentless, obviously, because there are spam filters as well. Try to be very personal. Try to find common ground with the companies that you're trying to reach out to, and try and start small. Basically, everyone is afraid of this first step of getting burned a bit. So instead of taking a giant leap and calling the largest company on the list that you've built, actually call just company that may be not very relevant, and you might be surprised because the person who built that company might be a very open-minded entrepreneur who is locally very well connected, and he might actually drive your growth in that area. He might become your so it used to be called a pen pal, right? Now WhatsApp pal or whatever, it can be called in any way, but he or she can become your partner in that business locally and can help growing your business. This is what I experienced with my own business when I was starting in Nigeria, and then it is a domino effect. So once you get through one doors, people talk, and you will get introduced. People will start calling back to you, especially if you bring the value and you bring something unique and you are trustworthy person, you have integrity. If you show that to one or two people in the market, the market will start responding to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Pavel. That was very insightful. Thank you very much. So reach out, guys. If you're going to do business in Africa, if you're going, pick up your phone, start dialing people's numbers, right? Start reaching out to the people you want to do business with. That's the one way to do it. You just have to reach out there and put yourself out there. Thank you very much. I have another question. So I can see a few questions from some of the audience. We're going to get to your question. One more question from me, I think most people would have as well, is when it comes to doing business in Africa, there's one challenge most people get to experience, and it's the challenge of integrity. Because you mentioned integrity when you were just in during your presentation, right? So you talked about how, like, if you're going to do business in Africa, you need to be someone who have integrity. Fantastic, right? But one challenge you have in Africa is there are a few people, a few business owners, a few distributors, service providers who want to cut corners, right? So what is the best way? First of all, when you have someone who cuts a corner, how do you manage, right? When you come to do business in Africa and you're forced to have to cut corners, how do you manage that? How do you maintain your integrity when you have to do business in Africa, having a situation where most of the people who you have to work with have issues with integrity? How should a business owner or someone who's looking to thrive in Africa manage that?
Okay, that's a very good question, Michael. It is actually it's a large issue. It's a big challenge, obviously, right? You can get burned, and you can find yourself in a not very pleasant situations. But one way to do it, and that's how I did it, is well, if you demonstrate yourself as a person of integrity, then you should actually give chance to someone, right? You give chance, you discuss with them. Okay, sometimes the people you're talking to are purely trying to cut corners, exclude you from the business, or circumvent you in certain transactions or deals. But one very important thing is that whomever you deal with, always verify, do not trust. So back when I was starting, I was identifying everyone. I think probably you could ask my friend over there, who actually helped me build first client relationships. That it was kind of unorthodox for him to actually have someone asking him over WhatsApp or email, like, "Hey, dude, can you share your ID? Can you share your proof of address? Can you share this and that? Because I'm running a serious business here, so I want to know who I'm dealing with. I have no problem giving you mine, because I'm a person who likes to build trust on that." So basically, first of all, know who you are dealing with, at least by their identity, because if you have someone behind the email or phone number, it can be changed. It's very easy to get the SIM card, swap the numbers, get eSIM numbers in any part of the world. And let me tell you, it's not. I think the whole opinion about Africa, and there's something that I don't like to use, but I'm going to use it. The Nigerian scam is basically a thing, like it's a coined term, but I haven't ever experienced that firsthand. Maybe because I was actually covering my my bases, so always verifying who I'm dealing with. I was always starting slow, so even if someone was coming to me and saying, hey, Pavel, we are going to do X and X millions a month in volume, I wouldn't actually start with that amount. I would say, like, hey, let's do 10,000 first. Let's see how that goes. Let's see how fast you are on your end. Then we are going to do maybe 20. And you do it gradually, because it's, even if someone by default would be actually looking to cut corners with you, and he sees that you're a person who's going to take certain steps to actually minimize your risk, they might learn from you a thing or two, and they might see, like, okay, this is something I haven't thought about. I was going for the big deal, and there was someone who was always willing to actually exploit that interest of mine. So oftentimes people cutting corners are not the people who have any sort of evil in mind. They are the people who have been exposed to that part of to bad actors, and they're actually just transferring that sort of behavior onto you. So I'm a deep believer in people, in terms of that fundamentally every one of us has good intentions. However, you have to verify those intentions by taking small steps. So don't go gung-ho into your business. Don't go into with euphoria because you found someone and he speaks nicely. He's a very interesting persona. I've got a very interesting story about it actually. In my bank account in the UAE, I was opening a bank account. I got introduced by someone who turned out, and my account was opened. It was all very genuine, but it turned out that the person was a listed scammer on Facebook and everywhere. He was promising people a lot of things, and yet I got a good thing out of him, and I didn't get burned by his actions because I've been able to identify it in the on the go. So yeah, that would be what I advise in that case, Michael.
Thank you very much, guys. So when it comes to integrity, guys, come on, don't wait for someone to do not accept that someone cuts corners, and that is the reason for you to cut corners. And then as well, do your due diligence, do your research on people you want to collaborate with, partner with, and do business with. So now we're going to take questions from everybody who has been dropping questions in the comment section. So Scarlett Success has a question for us. So success questions. One of the question is this: how can businesses prepare now to capitalize on future trends in Africa? So how can businesses prepare now to capitalize on future trends in Africa? Over to you, Paul.
Yeah, that's a great question, Success. Thank you. I think what is important, look into which technologies, which trends are on the rise. For example, everything is happening on mobile right now, so I would look into leveraging mobile technologies, mobile websites, everything like mobile first. That is going to be the trend that is going to prevail, and basically start building infrastructure, or start finding the infrastructure to actually capitalize on those trends in the future, be it cryptocurrency, like I said, mobile, and in general everything happening remotely, online, and so on. So I would focus on those two, really those three.
All right, thank you very much. So the next question we have is from Ajiri. So Ajiri says, how can foreign businesses adapt their strategies to be successful in Africa?
Thank you, Ajiri. So like I said earlier on, basically you have to adapt to the environment you're working in. You cannot adapt the same. If foreign business means that they're coming from America, they're coming from Europe, UK, Asia. Those are different cultures. So the best way to adapt is to actually talk to people and understand their customs, their culture, and their way of doing business. It's very important to avoid disappointments and avoid misunderstandings. So I would start with people, and then with current technologies and infrastructure state. So that's the advice I would give here.
All right, fantastic. Thank you. So the next question we have is from Payverse Technology. So Payverse says, hey Powell, does One Liquidity provide funding to help businesses with their day-to-day operations?
Okay, thank you, Payverse Technologies. So it depends what kind of funding are we talking about. One Liquidity as a company is not a venture capital firm. So on that end, we do not do that. On the end of providing liquidity, yes, we do. So we do that through, excuse me, through various means. One, we can power your payments, we can power your trading. Another is we can actually lend you funds against your digital assets. So how that works in practice is that you hold Bitcoin, for example, and you want to have to use that Bitcoin as a collateral to the loan, the bank will tell you, no, we do not accept the Bitcoin. When you come to One Liquidity, we say like, okay, here's your fiat money. These are the terms. We are going to take that Bitcoin as collateral, and we are going to provide you funding based on that.
All right. Thank you very much, Pavel. Thank you very much. So the next question we have is from Success. So Success, hold on. So before we go to the next question, Pavers, I hope you have answers to your questions, right? So if you're not happy with your answers or you need more answers or more clarity, just do well to shoot us an email, right? I'm going to drop the direct email account where you can send an email to, and we're going to address and respond to all your questions. Yeah, thank you very much. So in continuation, so Success has a question. Question is, there's a trend of African businesses closing shop due to lack of funding. This does not bode well for the continent. What are your thoughts? How can this be mitigated?
Okay. Yeah. Thanks again, Success. So basically, it's not only the trend of African businesses right now. If you look at the funding rates of businesses around the world in fintech, in 2023, the amount of funding actually dropped. Now, not all businesses are actually funded by external investors. And most of the businesses are, I believe, bootstrapped, and that was the case with me. That is the case with One Liquidity. We are actually self-funded. So my thoughts on this is, in the world where everyone is throwing money at everyone, because that's what is being shown in social media, and that is what is being talked about by the largest players in the market, is that having aspirations to be the largest player in the market is great, but you cannot do it overnight. So basically, instead of looking for funding and trying to play big, try to be frugal. Try to minimize your costs, negotiate your contracts with service providers, find ways to cut your costs of hosting, for example, right? There are various ways to do that. Try to join various associations which may help you grow the business. And what is the paramount part is far too many businesses focus on technology and infrastructure first, so on the product. But then the question is, who is going to use that product if you didn't do the research, right? First, do research if the product has the market fit. If it does have a market fit, look around. Most of the companies that are actually leading today and raising the most rounds of funding, those are the companies that had very mediocre product at best when they came to market. Revolut was just running on the back of many third parties. And it's a success story of today. They raise millions on millions. So I would say re-examine your tech, re-examine your approach, and sell. A lot of success lies in sales. So instead of focusing on building better and better product, just let it out to the market and sell it to someone, because I guarantee there is someone who is going to want to pay for it, and that is going to give you a windfall of cash to keep your operations running.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Powell. So if you have any inquiry, right, guys, if you have any inquiry about One Liquidity, our business, what we do, right, send all your inquiries to bello@oneliquidity.com. Bello is an amazing, she's amazing. She's on the other end and she's waiting for your email. She cannot wait for you to send her an email and ask about how we can help you. If you need $1 million, we're going to find a way to have Powell give you that money. So you can drive your business in Africa. All right, guys. So we're going to take the last question, and that is from Precious. So Precious has a question. Hello, I'm Precious, watching from I cannot pronounce that. Okay, Warrenburg, US. My question is, how important are local partnerships and networks in navigating the African business environment? So is it possible, I guess what you're trying to say is it possible for you to do businesses really without partnering with like local players? What do you think about that?
Hi, Precious. Thank you for your question. So I would say it is possible. but it is going to be much more difficult than with local partnerships, if that is the question you're asking, obviously. But having local partnerships and local networks is very important, because you need someone who understands the local market and local community. Unless you are willing to travel and do it on your own, I would advise it's actually the best step to the first step to take in order to break into any African market, because you will find vast differences between what you might be used to and what the market is actually doing and what people are actually responding to locally. There are various surprises that come your way when you do that. So I would say this is paramount. This is the most important part of building your business in Africa, having network and having partnerships.
All right. Thank you very much, Powell. It was very insightful to have this conversation with you, right? And talk about like what it's like to do businesses in Africa and thrive in Africa. Thank you so much for sharing. Guys, we're very sorry we can't take like most of the questions that are here. So, but we're always going to have these live sessions, right? So always stay close. So follow us across our social media channels, right? So follow us across our social media channels on Instagram, right? You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Twitter, One Liquidity HQ. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, guys, right? Stay in touch, right? And then you can always visit our website, oneliquidity.com. You can sign up for a demo account. And then if you have any inquiries, don't worry. I'm not going to tell you to send info. You don't have to send any email to info@oneliquidity.com, right? So this is Bello. Bello has you covered, right? So send a message. Bello is somewhere and she's not happy right now because there's like a lot of messages that gets to meet her, but we're very excited to see your message, right? So send her a message if you have inquiries on how One Liquidity can help you scale your businesses. Because what we do at One Liquidity is the infrastructure. We provide the software infrastructure that you need, technology service that you need to thrive with your business. All you have to do is come to us. We'll give you everything you need to thrive. We'll plug you in your APIs. We'll give you money to be able to run your business smoothly across Africa, help you move funds across the continent and across the globe, right? As quickly and as fast as you need to succeed at your business. Thank you so much, Paula. It was great to have you. And guys, this is the end of our live webinar, Thriving in the African Business Landscape. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for tuning in. We're glad and we hope you learned something new today. Thank you very much. All right, Powell, have a great night. Have a good night, everybody, and wherever it is you're coming from.
Have a good night, everyone.
Yes, so you can just hang around. Would you like a mini party? Just play something nice for you whilst we just all go home to have a great night. All right, Powell, good night.
All right, good night, Michael. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah.
One Liquidity isn't just talking innovation. We are walking the walk with impressive figures that showcase impact on Africa's financial landscape. Here are some key numbers that speak volumes. $5 billion plus in transactions, $10 million plus in monthly credits and loans, $500 million plus in B2B payments. These numbers translate to real progress. Businesses have access to the resources they need. Trade flourishes and Africa's economic engine gains momentum. One Liquidity impressive numbers are just the beginning. By choosing One Liquidity, you are not just partnering with a financial service provider, you are joining a movement driving positive change across Africa. Sign up for a demo account today.